Welcome, everybody, to this week of Replenish Come Follow Me study. Sorry about last week. We had the influenza in our home and I did not prioritize this video. This week's Come Follow Me is fascinating. There's some really cool things that happen in it. There's one chapter that's entirely about the adversary and the tactics that he uses. And you can just clearly see this is what he does and this is how he does it. And then the next chapter is all about God and God defining who he is and what he does and who he will be. And so it's really cool to put these chapters side by side. And those chapters are chapters 28 and then 29. In 2 Nephi chapter 28, verse 7, it starts with, "And there shall many which shall say, Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die, and it shall be well with us." And it describes this idea of it doesn't matter what we actually do today, we're going to be fine. The devil will grasp them with his everlasting chains, and they will be stirred up to anger and perish. And behold, at that day he shall rage in the hearts of the children and stir them up to anger against that which is good. And others will he pacify and lull them away into carnal security, that they will say, All is well in Zion. Yea, Zion prospereth, and all is well. And thus the devil cheateth their soul and leadeth them away carefully down to hell. And behold, others he'll flatter away and telleth them, There is no hell, and say to them, I am no devil, for there is none. And thus he whispereth in their ears until he grasp them with his awful chains, from whence there is no deliverance. Yea, and they are grasped with death and hell. And chapter 6 also gives us insight into how the adversary works. And this one says, chapter 26, verse 22, that he leadeth them by the neck with a flaxen cord until he bindeth them with his strong cords forever. Now, I have always assumed that flaxen cord is like a difficult one to break. But as I was studying for this discussion, I learned that flaxen cord is like a really thin linen string, and that really if we wanted to break out of it, we could. And so that bring me this whole other idea of the devil is leading me away with this thing that I could choose not to be trapped by if I wanted to. And he does that. And then when you look at the second half of it, it says, until he bindeth them with his strong cords. And then in the next chapter, it talks about binding them with chains. But it starts off with this flaxen cord, this thing that if I would just choose to break out of it, I would be able to break out of it. And it made me wonder, what are those things in my life that are the flaxen cords? They're kind of just loosely draped. They're probably not the healthiest. They're probably not the best choices that I could be making. They're probably not the best way to spend my time, whatever it might look like in your own life. But it made me wonder, what are those things that I don't think of as a danger because it's just a linen string that as I let it guide my choices or decisions will end up becoming a strong cord and could become a chain that's binding me down or bringing me down. And how do I gain awareness into what those flaxen things are that are around my neck and leading me or guiding me? Any thoughts on how we gain that kind of awareness?
Yes, we just ask.
Who do we ask?
Heavenly Father, not the
Yeah.
devil.
He'll just say, there is no flaxen cord. There is none. Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. And where it says the flaxen cord until he bindeth them with his strong cords forever, I got like a visual of like just his words being the strong cords.
Oh, his words that he uses, that he flattereth us with and whispers in our ears and stirs us up with.
Like he binds us just a little and
Mm-hmm.
then wraps us in him.
Oh, I really like that concept. Not like this is warm and fuzzy, but like I that rings true. I think
Yeah.
that's accurate, that there are these little flaxen cords that maybe are guiding us somewhere, and when we let them take hold, then here comes all of his other attacks that he does verbally, internally, on my worth or who I am or or my abilities or whatever his favorite little lie is. For me, his favorite lie is that I'm a burden. It's a lie that I hear every single day, that I'm a burden, that what I'm doing is burdensome. And so what other words might he be using with a strong cord that's leading me away from believing that God loves me? This carnal security one, for me, is what came into my mind with this idea of the flaxen cord that I could get out of, that I could choose not to. I'm blinding myself from the things that are weapons. I'm not actually secure. I'm not actually safe. One time I was going through something really hard, and I was talking to my therapist, and I was saying, "Oh, I'm really afraid to choose that because what if this happens? And I'm afraid to choose that because what if this happens? And I'm worried about that, and I'm afraid of this, and I think that but I'm okay. I'm just in this limbo, and I'm afraid to do all of this." And my therapist stops me. She goes, "Ashley, you have talked an awful lot about fear for someone who thinks that they're fine." And she said, "Fear is not usually an indicator of having the spirit. Fear is an indicator of being somewhere else." And she goes, "So I think you think you're fine. Like you feel like maybe you're hanging out in a condo and you're just waiting until the choice presents itself to you. But I have a feeling if you step back and look around, you're actually in Satan's condo. And it's got the big cockroaches and there's all of this sneaky stuff." And this now every time I read this verse about carnal security, I equate it to Satan's condo. And I'm like, no, I'm a condo. It's cool. It'll be fine. I'll get out whenever I want to. I could leave. I could make a choice, but maybe it's easier that I just stay here. It's fine. It's all fine. I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid to do that. And the the door to Satan's condo is just held closed with a flaxen cord. And that flaxen cord just gives me long enough pause to go, oh no, I don't want to open it. Right. Versus if I stop and go, whoa, this isn't actually where I want to be. This is Satan's condo. I'm not actually safe. All is not well. I need to choose to come back to be in the presence of the Lord. And then I can just open that door. And all that's holding it closed is this flaxen cord.
I really like that.
And then in chapter 29, we have this beautiful, the whole thing is one giant God defining himself for us. And remember, that's what we define boundaries are. Who am I? Who am I not? What am I okay with? What am I not okay with? What will I do? What will I not do? And we see right from the very beginning of chapter 29, God speaking all the way through this. Verse 1, I may remember my covenants, which I have made unto my children. So he defines himself from the beginning. This is what I will do. I'm going to remember my covenants. And in verse 5, I, the Lord, have not forgotten my people. I remember them. And in verse 7, I, the Lord your God, have created all men, and that I remember those who are upon the isles of the sea, and that I rule in the heavens above and in the earth beneath, and I bring forth my word unto the children of men, yea, even upon all the nations of the earth. Don't you know that? He starts that off with, know ye not that I do this? Do you know this about me? I am God of all of the people. And so, of course, I want to share my word with all of the people. This is who I am. This is what I do. And verse 9, I do this that I may prove unto many that I am the same yesterday, today, and forever, and that I speak forth my words according to my own pleasure. And because I have spoken one word, ye need not suppose that I cannot speak another, for my work is not yet finished. Neither shall it be unto the end of man, neither from that time henceforth and forever. This one, verse 9, made me laugh because in the recovery world, we talk about this tool called the Personal Bill of Rights. And quite often what I encourage people to put in their personal bill of rights is, I have the right to change my mind. I have the right to change my mind. And then here's God, and he's saying, I'm going to be the same. My goal will always be for the eternal life of man. But just because I spoke once doesn't mean I'm not going to speak again. I have the right to speak again. I have the right to say there is more to come because there are still people on the earth. So I still get to speak. So I love this. Just because I spoke once, don't think I'm not going to speak again just because I promised to be the same. So I love that. It made me laugh. And then in verse 14, I will show unto them that I am God, and that I covenanted with Abraham that I would remember his seed forever. That's who I am. I am God, and I remember my people, and I fight for my people, and I continue to give my people instruction yesterday, today, and forever. So I love that we see these like sneaky tactics of the adversary. He's going to come in with the flaxen cord, and he's going to try to logically convince you that there is no devil, and he's going to say maybe we're just in a condo and it's fine. And then right after that, we have this clear picture of God. And this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is what you can believe about me. And you can remember and trust that I will show up this way because this is who I am. So those are the things that stood out to me this week. If you're interested in coming and joining our chat, just reach out to me on rejoicerecovery.org, and we'll see you guys next week.